Nvidia stock got two amazing news today. The first we're going to hear about is there are reports that the Blackwell platform is sold out for the next 12 months, which is insane for Nvidia stock investors. The second thing we're going to take a closer look at is AMD did give an update to the total addressable market for AI accelerators. And this update, in my opinion, is even more bullish for Nvidia. Talking about total addressable market, I believe the total addressable market of this channel can grow dramatically if you make sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe button, so make sure to get to it. Now, you can also make sure to check out my free Substack and special offer at fool.com/Jose. Now, all jokes aside, on today's episode, we do have a lot of AI news, so let's get started.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
Now, AMD did have an AI event today, and they did showcase kind of their new AI accelerators. Unfortunately, AMD was down roughly 4%. So I want to say two things could be true. So the first thing I want to say that is true is, as an Nvidia stock investor, I believe one should not be worried about AMD or their AI accelerators right now. I'm going to talk about how this AI event is not really much impact for Nvidia. Now, just because it's not something to be worried about for Nvidia, and this goes to my second truth, I also believe that the AI events should be bullish for AMD in the long term of things. So again, I don't think AMD is a threat to Nvidia. I just believe that the AI market is so big that even if AMD gets breadcrumbs, it can be very, very good for the stock. So later today, I am going to do an episode on Nvidia, on AMD. Today, obviously, we're focusing on our favorite giant. So the first news we're going to take a closer look at is there are reports that Nvidia's Blackwell AI processors is sold out for the next 12 months. And this comes from executives have said that productions of the company's next generation artificial intelligence processor called Blackwell is progressing on schedule, and that the product is sold out for the next 12 months. Morgan Stanley notes that any new Blackwell orders now that aren't already in queue will be shipped late next year, as they are booked out 12 months or so, which continues to drive strong short-term demand for Hopper, which will still be a major factor through the year. So again, I think this is why it's important to understand your company very, very well and to be bullish in something you follow throughout the days. And if you are familiar with this channel, we talk about Nvidia almost on a daily basis. And in Q1 of 2024, we already have this answer. During this quarter earnings, which was 2 earnings ago, the management says that the demand for H200 and Blackwell is well ahead of supply. So this is pretty much saying that, hey, look, our demand for Blackwell is going to be oversold because we just don't have the supply to keep up. And we expect demand may exceed supply well into next year. So again, if you've been following this channel, if you've known about Nvidia and been listening to their earnings call, this is not something that should surprise you. But I think this is what one has as an investor, as an individual investor, is you're able to deep dive into a company and really understand the true demand. It seems like the market still doesn't really understand the demand for Blackwell. And let me give you a quick question. Who do you think is Nvidia's biggest competitor? More importantly, who do you think is Nvidia's biggest competitor to Blackwell? I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about that question, but usually a question like this, the easiest response is, okay, if Blackwell is number one, the biggest competitor is whatever number two is. And number two is actually the H200, followed by, you can say maybe the MI300 and the H100 are in third place together. But number two is easily the H200. So if there's too much Blackwell, if there's not enough Blackwell, where do you think customers are going to move on to next? They're going to go out there and buy the H200. And if the H200 is sold out, who do you think they're going to go to next? Finally, maybe AMD's MI300 or most likely Nvidia's H100 platform. So we can see even if their Blackwell platform is sold out, it still can signify strong revenue growth, as the company will be able to sell its previous generation, the Hopper platforms, to customers. So I think overall that has been very, very bullish for Nvidia stock. Now, the second topic I wanted to take a closer look at is AMD's AI event. And the most important thing came out when Lisa Su, the CEO of AMD, announced an update to their total addressable market of AI accelerators. They believe that the AI accelerator market by 2028 will be $500 billion, where in 2023 was roughly $45 billion. So a growth of about 60% compounded annual growth rate. Now, AMD has mentioned that the AI accelerator includes a lot of things. It's not just GPUs, it's ASIC solutions, it's other types of AI accelerators as well, but a majority of this comes from the GPU market. And if we know that Nvidia is the dominant player in this space, it is safe to assume that Nvidia is going to keep a bulk of that total addressable market for themselves. So again, this is why I believe even though Nvidia is number one and is going to continue to be number one, even if AMD gets breadcrumbs here in this market, it's going to be a good opportunity for the company to grow. Now, AMD did also announce their second AI accelerator. The first was the MI300. This is going to be the MI325X, and production is starting in Q4 of 2024. Now, for those that are not familiar, the MI325X is expected to combat against Nvidia's H200. But if we remember Q4 of 2024, that's when Nvidia should be shipping out their Blackwell platform. So again, this is why I mentioned that as an Nvidia investor, I really wouldn't be worried about AMD because we can see they are about a few steps, maybe more than a few steps behind Nvidia when it comes to AI chips. Now, the next one that they are going to release is the MI350, and the MI350 is expected to combat against maybe the Blackwell platform. But this is not going to be available to the second half of 2025, when I believe Nvidia should be having their Blackwell Super by then. So again, we continue to see how far ahead in the game Nvidia is compared to any players, which again, I believe is bullish for the overall company. Now, while I am a long-term bull, Nvidia is my number one position. Personally, I am not a buyer at these levels. This is already my biggest position, and if I was to buy at these levels, this would be a very, very small dollar cost averaging. Again, for every investor, everybody has their own risk to reward tolerance. For me, it's just not there. Again, it could be that I am biased because this is my number one position. But these are the levels where I pretty much would just very, very, very small dollar cost average. I mean, the market, while everything seems all good and green, the market always tends to give us some form of buying opportunities when we least expect it. We saw it in early September. We saw it in early August. We also saw some in some of the dips that we saw earlier this year as well. So it's not like it's impossible. The great thing about opportunities is opportunities knocks when we least expect it. So this is why it's important to understand the company. I hope you guys enjoy these two updates and take care. Have a good day and see you next time.